Hello, drummers, musicians, and anyone that enjoys drum instructional videos. Tim Connolly, drummer, drum teacher. Happy New Year. This is my first video of 2022, January 2nd. It's going to be an exciting year. I think things are looking up. Hopefully we can get out of this ridiculous pandemic that we're in and things can look up. One thing that's very exciting in my life is my middle daughter is going to be having a baby. Basically, I'm on baby alert, grandpa baby alert. So that is pretty exciting. I don't think it's going to happen immediately, but it's going to be happening very, very soon. And we're super excited to welcome a new baby boy. We already know that it's a boy, and we're super excited. He'll probably be sitting right here. I'll probably put him on this floor tom here, be sitting with me for some of the videos, saying, "Hi, how are ya?" Okay, so today, what I want to talk about, I got a list of things to talk about here, and basically it's what I bring to the table, what I offer, what I do as a drum teacher, and what makes me different and quite frankly stand out among regular drum teachers, if you want to call it. First of all, I just want to say and give credit to, right off the hop, to all the great drum teachers and music teachers that I had over the years. I started playing drums when I was 7, and I got the drum kit on my birthday. So 50 years of drumming in May for me, coming up this year. 50 years since I got my very first drum kit. I didn't start taking lessons till I was 10. And it's kind of a funny story. My mother comes bursting in the room and she says, the drums are in my bedroom. And she says, "That's it, I've had enough." And I'm like, "Oh no, she's gonna take my drums away. She's tired of the banging." And I was terrified, and she says, "I've had enough of you playing the same grooves and the same fills over and over. You're gonna take drum lessons and learn how to play this instrument properly." My response was, "I don't need lessons, I already know how to play." Typical kid response. I knew how to play at a very amateurish kid level. You know, I could play a few grooves, I knew a few fills, but really, looking back in hindsight, I basically knew nothing, really. So that launched a journey, because at first I was against it. I honestly did not want to take lessons. And she insisted, and she hooked me up in the town that I grew up in. She hooked me up. There wasn't a lot of drum teachers, let's be honest. She went to the local music store, and because she didn't know, any drum teachers, whatever, it just wasn't a popular thing. So this would be 1975. So I got the drums in 72, started the lessons in 75, and it was at a music store. Can't remember the name of it. Maybe the High Note Music Store, that might be it. Anyways, that's what launched it. And through the years and years, I've taken literally thousands of lessons. I've been with some of the greatest teachers, both private lessons and masterclass lessons. A lot of the teachers that I had were fantastic teachers who were playing on an international level and are quite famous. Then I had some teachers who were also fantastic. They weren't necessarily internationally famous, maybe locally or famous here in Canada. And, I learned a lot from all those guys. Every teacher I had, every lesson I ever had, I learned a ton. So I am really pushing lessons this year that I think people need to learn, and they need to spend time. It's not an easy task. You take the lessons, you go home and you practice the stuff. There is no easy fix to get good at anything. You want to be a super athlete, you want to be a super dancer, super musician, you've got to put the time in. I put the time in. I put lots, and I practiced like you would not believe. I not only took all these lessons, but I practiced and taught. I've taught more lessons than I've taken, but I'm a firm believer in taking the lessons, practicing the stuff, and then taking the stuff out and playing it. You know, if you're a working musician, or you're someone that just gigs on the weekend, or you're just playing with your friends, or you're in the school band, it doesn't matter. The lessons are going to help. So some of the things that I specifically teach is what we're talking about today. So first and foremost, it has a lot to do with who I studied with. Technique. Technique is huge. It's massively important to learn good technique. And I believe that so firmly, because once you get good technique in anything, not just drums, but once you get good technique, the ease of execution, getting your ideas out of your head, the things that you want to play, the phrasing, the grooves, whatever you want to play, the orchestrations, they all come easier and more natural when you learn about specific movements that will allow you to execute the things that you want to do on the drums. So some of the things that I teach are the Freestroke, which is very, very important. Getting the bounce off the drum. Originally, I learned that from Dom Famularo, Joe Morello, and legendary teachers like that. I also spent some time learning it when I was in music school. The teachers I had in music school spent a fair bit of time on that technique. Ernie Porthouse was fundamental in my technique, learning different techniques. The next one, of course, is Moeller, which is huge. Learning how to get an accent stroke followed by bounce strokes, and the movement of getting the whipping motion in the Moeller. Jim Chapin was the man for that, known most commonly for the Moeller. Again, I learned this from Dom Famularo, who was a student and good friend of Jim Chapin. Billy Gladstone finger technique, vitally important. That's where all your speed comes from. So you're doing a Moeller stroke followed by Billy Gladstone fingers. So these things are vitally important technically. Then of course there's my own technique, which is called the liquid effect, which is, I'm sure there's other people that may have these ideas. I just came up with my own idea and name for it. And basically it's taking the Freestroke, the Moeller, the push-pull, the Billy Gladstone, putting it all together and creating a liquid effect in the sense of freedom of movement and very, very loose and super relaxed around the drum kit. That's what I push down all my drum students' throats, is being loose and the liquid effect. The effect of all these techniques, because you're going to move through them. You know, you might do a Moeller stroke, play that for a couple Moeller strokes, and then you might do some free strokes. And of course, you're going to be using your fingers, so the Billy Gladstone is always there. And learning all these different techniques and putting them together, I've called it all, as a package, I've called it the liquid effect. Also, technically, we have bass and hi-hat technique. Just reminded me that I have videos on all this stuff, on other videos on my YouTube channel, if you want to check them out. Now, I'm on here because I'm trying to grow my channel. That's one thing. I want people to watch this and get back into acoustic drumming. Nothing against electronic drums, but I'm teaching off of acoustic drums. And getting back to what's starting to become a lost art of real instruments and real drumming skills, okay? So check out my other videos to help you along with these things. The other thing that I wanted to talk about today was the fact that in my last video I mentioned about drum lessons online, which is using Zoom, in person. Now the in-person right now is shut down temporarily. But the Zoom, which has really taken off over the last couple of years, going to be honest, is still something that is very, very doable and viable. I teach people from around the world on Zoom, and it's been actually a very successful thing. So please, if you're interested in learning these techniques and studying with me, please message me and we can set something up. You pay through PayPal. All my prices and everything are in my last video that I talked about the lessons. Today I just wanted to talk about some of the specific things we're going to do in the lessons. Now, I've got a massive list of things here, but I'm not going to go through it all in this video. I'm just going to give you the main things that I work on. The other thing is styles. I teach all styles because I play all styles. Being a student of music for 50 years and spending many, many years in music school and many, many gigs in many, many different styles, I've learned to play it all. And also the drummers that I tend to like the most are the similar to me in the sense that they also can play every style and nothing is uncomfortable for them. Now, there are some styles that I'm less familiar with, I'll be totally honest. Extreme metal, for example, I don't play a lot of extreme metal. I do play metal, I've played on a number of metal recordings and whatnot, but it's not my absolute bag, you know? But all styles of rock. I mean, like I said, I can teach metal, just not extreme. The super, super fast metal stuff is just not it's not my bag. So all forms of rock, jazz, all forms of jazz, bebop, fusion, smooth jazz, post-bop, you know, any kind of jazz, swing, early 40s, 1930s, big band, any of that stuff. I can teach all forms of jazz, and I love playing all forms of jazz. Funk, that's my bag. Funk is my thing. I love playing funk music. I love sitting in the pocket and laying down fat grooves. That's what it's all about to me. Also, I teach all styles of funk, including linear funk, which is a very, very interesting and wonderful form of funk music. You check out a guy like David Garibaldi, Rick Latham, a guy that I studied with, which his name is Rick Gratton. He was the guy that really hipped me to linear funk. You check out Rick's Licks if you want to see some really great linear stuff. Afro-Cuban. I love Afro-Cuban music. I absolutely adore all the different grooves and styles inside of Afro-Cuban music. And one of the things that I always preach is that everything, if you're, let's say you're just a rock player, let's just say you know, I just like rock music. Okay, that's fine. But you can learn jazz, funk, Afro-Cuban, and other styles that I have here, and adapt that to rock. You can take an Afro-Cuban groove and play it in a rock setting. It'll still work, you know, under certain circumstances. Not all circumstances, but under some. And it's really cool to be able to branch out. It shows your versatility when you're playing. Now, ultimately, the goal is to play to the music. If the song doesn't call for an Afro-Cuban groove, obviously you're not going to play it. But if there's a moment, like there's so many songs where drummers, maybe for a section of the tune, like a verse, a chorus, a pre-chorus, a bridge, a solo section, they shift from a standard 8th note, 16th note, whatever the rock or funk type groove is, and they shift it into a Afro-Cuban groove. And it works beautifully oftentimes. So branching out and learning different styles and adapting it into your love of rock music. Brazilian music is another form of music that I really, really enjoy, and I love to teach that, and I love playing it. So I very much want all my students to learn all these styles, and Brazilian is very, very important. Country music. Now, country music, there's a few grooves that are pretty much exclusive to country, not very many, a couple, like a train beat or something. But for the most part, country music is just another form of rock drumming, to be totally honest, you know? Now, early country has got a lot of jazz influence in it. People, what do you mean jazz influence in country music? Buddy Rich would disagree with me. However, a lot of the early rock drummers, country drummers and stuff, they were all coming from a jazz background. So they, a lot of times, those early rock tunes and those early country tunes had a jazz swing feel. Ding, ding, da ding, spang-a-lang, spang-a-lang, right? So that was a very, very common thing. Okay, so I have many, many other things that I'm going to cover on another video. But that is what I wanted to talk about for today. So please message me, hit me up. I'm available for Zoom lessons. At this time, if you live in the Hamilton, Ontario area, eventually I will be available again for in-person lessons. Thanks very much for watching. Keep drumming. Keep drumming. See ya.